Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun. So, she's terrible.
Alright, there we go. F tier.
So let me just quickly think how I want to describe her terribleness here.
No, don't insult my Twitch mod. Terrible is a pretty good mod,
Sorry.
even though he's never there.
Sorry, let me reword it. Let me figure out how I'm going to describe her inadequacy here.
Alright.
So Black Death. Firstly, for Black Death, you must build a Nexus out in the middle of nowhere. Because, here's the thing. With emergency recall, upon taking fatal damage, your units will recall to a Nexus.
Yep.
And if they have Black Death on them, they'll recall, die instantly in the mineral line, and make all your probes sick. You will never have any economy. There is a solution, however.
And your ally also has to do that.
As of the Prestige patch, we have been saved, for no longer does it teleport to your main base. It teleports to the nearest Nexus. And so therefore, you can put a Nexus in the middle of nowhere for them to teleport to when they die.
I actually learned from Tutu that it doesn't have to be in the middle of nowhere. It just has to be a little bit further forward from all your other nexuses. Like, it can also be still in your base, but just further forward.
It has to be in the middle. It has to be in your base. There's going nuclear, remember?
Yeah.
But, by in the middle of nowhere, I mean, like, somewhere where it's not important. Like, don't put it next to your mineral line. Don't put it next to your production. Put it somewhere where it's a nice, safe quarantine to build a graveyard.
That actually sounds like a good description for it, especially with the COVID mutation. Yeah, quarantine.
It's literally a quarantine graveyard.
Yep. Anyway.
Where we bury all the corpses. Anyways, so that will help. That will help with that problem. That doesn't save you from the fact that you're a unit-based commander against Black Death. It doesn't save you from the fact that your best defense is just vanilla cannons, but without an easy offense method. Your best option here is you play P3, and you just say, okay, I'm going to cast Shadow Guard on cooldown, and Time Stop will get to the point where it will actually be able to just solo the entire shard during Time Stop with just the Shadow Guard. So that works. And so because of that, she's actually surprisingly decent. Like, she's a lot more decent than you might think because of the sheer power of P3 Time Stop. Without Prestige, Vorazun would have, like, before the Prestige patch, this would have been an F tier for Vorazun. P3 Time Stop alone moves her up to at least with everyone else. Will she be D tier or C tier? No, I actually think Vorazun can make it up to D tier. And potentially C tier, but that feels like stretching it. I can sort of see Vorazun in C tier.
Just by existing, Vorazun puts a risk of her ally losing all her economy.
D tier seems safer because just by existing, she puts hazards on your ally. D tier for Vorazun makes sense. But here's the thing. P3 Time Stop. She technically can top bar solo the objective.
You have to get
and to top bar. The fact that she can top bar solo the objective alone allows her to be a viable option.
You're probably going to be carried to that point.
The awkward part is the base defense. So basically, you can top bar solo the objective. You're using all your energy on Shadow Guard, so you have no energy for base defense. How do you defend the base? Cannons and stasis wards? Maybe Shadow Fury. Shadow Fury has 15 plus range, so at least you can stay out of range of Black Death with that, and they don't catch Black Death while Shadow Furying, just to be clear. So you can Shadow Fury waves, you can stasis ward waves, and you have cannons. So you can handle ground waves just fine. Once aberrations come, I don't know what you do other than suffer.
Cloak wall.
Cloak wall. Yeah, it's cloak wall. That's your option, is cloak wall. So aberrations will hopefully be held off by cloak wall. You're going to need to, but the problem is you don't have too much energy for dark. Like, you want to have as few dark pylons as possible in your cloak wall because you're wanting to spam Shadow Guards because you want to use Time Stop to solo the objective during that Time Stop. Here's the thing. She's a lot like Artanis, believe it or not. On paper, she has all the tools. And the execution is actually remarkably easy. The theory is even more unforgiving than Artanis. With Artanis, it's if you don't know the theory, it's going to get hectic and chaotic, but you can at least still be useful, especially with Archon dudes giving you such powerful top bar options. With Vorazun, it's if you don't have the theory, you will actively sabotage your ally.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that F tier then?
Yeah.
But if you do have, here's the thing. I feel like if someone has like, if as a player you have top-notch like theory ability to execute according to instructions,
you can do it.
And terrible micro, and like you have terrible micro. You have terrible RNG, terrible micro. You make mistakes everywhere, but you know the theory of what you're doing. Then Vorazun can be a top tier commander for you.
That's not the people who this video is for.
Well, it could be though. Like people who have terrible execution, like slow hands, sloppy micro mistakes, but they can listen to a game plan and follow that game plan, assuming it's low APM and easy enough. If you're one of those people, I'd recommend Vorazun more highly than like Jimmy and Stukov. I would recommend her as like
several counter arguments.
Okay, I would like to hear them actually, because this is about to turn into a big Vorazun rant.
First one is that when I played with CTG this yesterday, I told him to switch naturals, because if you're at the left natural, you can't build a forward nexus, and if you try to snipe the third shards, they will respawn. The closest nexus you can build is the one at the natural, so you're gonna lose your mineral line. That's one. So if you don't take the natural at the bottom, you can't put a forward nexus for Vorazun. Second is that as Vorazun, you can prepare. You know you can put a forward nexus because you know that this will happen. But your ally might not know, or they might not want to change their build just because of you. So
that will only apply if they have cloaked units. How many commanders?
If you have a dark pylon, when I play Han and Horner, my cloaked units died because I was defending, and my cloaked units died. They got revived, and they gave my mineral line COVID, and I didn't know because I wasn't ready for it. I forgot about it. Like I knew this, and I still forgot about it because it's not something I pay attention to. Because
I don't think I have cloaked units. Probably warn your ally, but yes, we'll assume a language barrier or something to prevent that.
But I think like this just makes your ally just like have to do stuff that's really different from the original plan just to deal just because you exist, which is why I think this is clear F tier.
Mm-hmm.
My only problem with that is like, on one hand, she meets the F tier requirement of crippling your ally by existing, like inconveniencing or harming your ally by existing. But on the flip side, she doesn't meet the F tier requirement of being bad at the mutation by herself. In solo, I would rather be Vorazun than anyone in C tier or D tier.
You would rather be Vorazun than anyone else.
This is where solo is easier as Vorazun because your ally's not there, and you can prepare for everything.
It's not easier for you, technically. It's just the same. It's easier for you to have an ally. It's just that your ally is going to get really annoyed when they're having to deal with their mineral line dying horribly if they didn't realize they needed to build an extra building.
And we don't want that.
Mutator curse words.
Extra
Angry
mutator
ally mutator.
Okay, well, to be fair, if they didn't understand when you instructed them to build an extra command center or hatchery or whatever, then there's obviously a language barrier, so you don't have to worry. They'll be swearing it. They're swearing at you in language you don't understand. They're too dumb to understand, anyways.
I don't think that's something I could tell people to do. Like
here's
that's absolutely not what this tier list is for.
I know. I don't think your allies are going to have that much trouble with it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I think my whole mineral line's dead. A little bit of inconvenience. My whole mineral line's dead.
They have to be either making cloaked units, which most people I see don't make cloaked units, so they don't have to worry at all. Unless, of course, you put a dark pylon somewhere that's actually inconvenient for them. So, honestly, if your ally is fighting at home, then if your ally is insisting on defending at the ramps, don't put a dark pylon there. Let them be decloaked so they don't mess up their mineral line. You are not going to inconvenience your ally unless you either try to or they try to do something stupid. And the thing is, it's like just by you can handle everything by yourself so simply, despite the fact that
when you get to a certain point.
No, it doesn't even need to be to a certain point, because the thing is, you put 100% of your money into defending.
That still doesn't address the point about the left base. If you spawn on the left,
how are
you gonna forward Nexus?
It will take one time stop to take out the top left shards. You can pull the probes for 30 seconds. You can send the probes away for 30 seconds while everyone is teleporting in and dying at that Nexus, and then once they've all died,
so much knowledge required.
Yeah. I don't see anyone who needs this video who would be able to leverage that information effectively.
But time stop automatically wins the objective for you.
Well, not automatically still.
I'm sorry, yes, you have to right click 3 times. Or 4 times final base.
You also need to get vision, otherwise you'll have to walk through the entire base.
Yes, you have to fly an oracle over or something, that's true.
It's definitely not nothing. And I don't know.
So much more knowledge and work than...
How about this? B if you're Styx Bender, F if you're everyone else.
She's not bad enough to be F, I feel. Even if she has the potential to make life harder for your ally, we've put people in higher tiers when they had the potential to make stuff harder for their ally if they did it wrong. There are certain mutators that will always make it so you can make stuff harder for your ally if you do it wrong, and Black Death is kind of one of them, because if you just go around shooting things willy-nilly,
but you don't have to.
Your ally.
You don't have to do it wrong as Vorazun to inconvenience your ally. You just have to exist.
Especially Duskwings now, they come back.
Now that Duskwings come back, that's true. She does very much inconvenience Jimmy, especially if Jimmy is expecting that bug to still be in the game. Mm-hmm. That would be unfortunate. Although, to be fair, Jimmy's making macro orbitals anyways, so by following his standard game plan, he's already building the forward command center to protect himself.
Unless he's player 2, or rather player 1, then he gets the north expansion.
Yeah, that's true. That will be quite unfortunate for when you go to the third area, assuming that he's there. Because if we assume that you just time stop the third area and solo clear it by yourself, then he won't even ever figure out that's a thing. He never even has to know it's a problem.
What if it's what do you do if you're fighting air?
What do you do if you're fighting air? You make so many cannons and hope it's enough. You probably have some expendable Corsairs where it's like, all right, you 5 Corsairs, go attack the airwave. Yes, you will get Black Death. Yes, you will die a horrific death. But it's only 5 Corsairs. And this waves come only every 3 minutes, and I'm spending 100% of my money on the waves. It's okay.
So it's about the inconveniencing, like, if you don't use a Dark Palomar early, then when you get to Aberration, then you're kind of screwed.
How about this? If it's not unanimous, it's not F. So E, how about E?
Fine.
Alright, there we go. If it's not unanimous, it's not F. So Vorazun is E tier. Saved by Styx Bender.